This is Josh Heller,
This is Logan Ripley,
and you're listening to Sports Now on Radio St. Rose.
internet radio service of the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York.
You're back here with Sports Now. I'm Josh Heller, as always joined by my co-host Logan Ripley. Logan, how's it going on the first day of the tournament?
Wow, yeah, we've got a lot of games, and we're moving hot and heavy through all of them. We got the Duke UNC Wilmington game tipped off. We got Texas Tech and Butler.
Yeah.
There's a few others that are spiraling in and out, so we'll give you maybe a few updates throughout the show, but not too many. We're just going to kick it off with NCAA basketball first.
Yeah.
And talk about the first four results.
Yeah, the first four happened over the past 2 days. We're recording this on a Thursday. First day of the first four, the big story being Florida Gulf Coast absolutely demolishing Fairleigh Dickinson, 96-65. Florida Gulf Coast outscored Fairleigh Dickinson 40-19 in the first half alone. Now, Florida Gulf Coast is a 16 seed, so you can't really see them taking a win over UNC, but could you? No, right?
Man, the Florida Gulf Coast team that was in the tournament the last time, not last year, but
I think it was
around 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, they look similar. They look very similar, and that's got to be because of the way the coaches coach. And man, they can get up and down the court. They're very athletic. All of them can dunk, and and it's just fun to watch. And I hope they do well. Now, do I want them to beat UNC? Probably not. But if they do
you think
I wouldn't be that upset.
Do you think they have the best chance out of all the 16 seeds?
I think the Austin
P
against
team, Kansas.
They have a very good chance.
Okay.
Kansas is very good, and I think they're better than USC.
Yeah.
But Austin P is coming into the tournament with a lot of emotion, a lot of support, and I think that's what you really need to do. You need to have those things to upset. Now, I'm saying this with UConn that's down about 10 to 15 to Colorado right now.
Yeah.
And they hit that full court shot against Cincinnati to send it into a third overtime.
Yeah.
And then beating them, you think they'd have a lot of confidence, but right now it looks like the better team's winning, and that might be a loss on my bracket.
Early on.
Yeah.
So the other first four game on the first day was Wichita State beating Vanderbilt by 20.
Yes, and I had that one. I think you said you thought that Wichita State would win that game too.
I have them in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I have them going decent. Yeah,
I have them losing to Kansas.
They beat Arizona, and then
I think they can beat Miami.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Villanova's the tough one for me.
I think I have them losing there. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they do. They're a team that is full of seniors and a couple young guys that can really make impacts. They have not been making shots this year like they have in the past. That has really driven them to be in the top 25 ranked. And so that's why their team's struggling a little bit. And the first half, they played horrible, and they're tied 30-30.
Yeah.
And then
they doubled the score.
They just said, "Yeah, here we go." They play hard-nosed defense, which the whole division does, and they got it. They got it back. And they ended up winning by 20, which is mostly free throws, but that's still a good team. And I think that they have a chance to upset some teams, but I wouldn't really call it an upset. I'd just call it whatever less than an upset is, because it's Wichita State. They're
a surprise.
They're a great dynasty team of our time, I think.
Yep. Moving on to the second day of the first four, Holy Cross continues their Cinderella run. The 14-19 Crusaders take down Southern University 22-12. Both 16 seeds. They get the pleasure of playing. Who is it? Is that the Virginia matchup? Oh, no, it's the Oregon matchup.
Yep, that's right.
So Holy Cross is going to be taking on Oregon. It was fun seeing their run. I can't imagine that they're going to beat the Ducks, but you never do know when it comes to March Madness.
Yeah, and I haven't really heard a lot about Oregon too much. They're number one seed.
I mean, they dominated their conference.
I think they're getting a little bit favorable because of that. We've seen, and that could be because of the media. We've seen more coverage of UNC and Michigan State and Arizona, Virginia, like all these teams, whereas Oregon's a building program, and we know them for football, not so much basketball. So maybe that's the problem why I didn't have a lot of faith in them. But they could be making a big splash, and they could win it all. They're a number 1 seed.
Yeah. Yep. And the more exciting of the second day of the first 4, Michigan takes down Tulsa in what I thought was a messy game, but one that was fun to watch. The Wolverines take down Tulsa by 5, and they get the pleasure of playing Notre Dame.
Yeah, Michigan is notorious for their 3-point shooting, but this game last night, Wednesday night, they struggled from outside, and they didn't get it done from outside, but then they held in the game. They had to drive, get to the paint, get baskets, get fouled, and that's really not what their team's made of. They're made of shooters. Duncan Robinson, who was a great story this year, he was at D3 Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, very close to my hometown, and he skipped D2 to D1 and was one of the highest points per game averages for Michigan this year. At one point, he was leading the team with 15 points per game, and he's a crafty player. He's a good shooter, and I think he actually propelled them down the stretch. He had one good fast break layup, and he hit 2 threes, and that really gave him the boost. And I think they need to look more towards him in the tournament. He's been to an NCAA tournament type feel before, D3 with his Williams College team, which was like one of the best in the country for D3. So he knows what it's like playing under pressure and things like that, and he knows how to take the big shots and hit the big shots.
Yep. So that was the first 4 wrap up. As we record this, the first 4 games of the first round are on, and we'll update you with final scores as they come in. But with that, we're going to move to baseball. We talked about the Adam LaRoche situation yesterday. Logan, what news came out that you heard of?
White Sox players, the team is reportedly considering boycotting the game against the Brewers. They ended up playing, but that's just showing that parallel between what happened with the Clippers and their organization with Donald Sterling. I know it's completely different topics between racism and maybe
not
just faith in one guy, but they're thinking, man, this guy's a veteran. How could you do this to him? Like, it's his kid. Maybe, like, this is the MLB. This is like you build young and you grow older and you restart. And I think that what the White Sox have done, and I don't know who made the call to do this.
I think it was the president, Ken Williams or Kevin Williams.
I think he might be taking a nice talk with some MLB higher-ups about this. And because this isn't just about the White Sox image, it's about the MLB. And when a 14-year-old wants to be in the locker room and maybe meet these players, as long as he's not disruptive, I think, of course, I'm guaranteeing he probably wasn't disruptive. Like, his father is Adam LaRoche, like a true veteran. And I think that with his veteran status on the team and in the MLB, he just got the short side of the stick, and I think he just wanted to show off the team, and he did. He showed up the organization.
Yep. Star pitcher Chris Sale called out the president today. Now, this is a situation where we see, the kid was there every day, and in the end, it is a work environment. But I don't see if he, like you said, if he wasn't disruptive, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Because guys like Adam Eaton came out and said that they liked having the kid there, and it's one of those situations where I feel like the owner or the president was just trying to shake something up, and it came down to this, even if it shouldn't have. He's just looking to change something, and he did. Whether that's right or wrong, I think it's wrong, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
All right, over to another issue with a Cuban-born player. We had talked about Cespedes on this show a little bit, but now we're going to be talking about Puig, who was, a big story for the past 2 years with his on-field altercations, off-field altercations. What has he done again?
So his situation was very similar to Aroldis Chapman in the fact that there was the off-the-field domestic issues. The thing that is different here is that Yasiel Puig will not be suspended by Major League Baseball. He had, in the offseason, he had his domestic issues, but it appears that no fallout will come from the MLB here. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't really know the exact details of the case.
Yeah, we don't know the details of it. They keep that under wraps.
Right,
so.
like I thought, many of the details were out about Chapman, and I thought he should have deserved to have been suspended, and he was. So I agree with that, but I don't know the exact details of the Puig case. I'm going to hope that that Major League Baseball made the right decision here, but I don't know for sure.
All right, so we'll get to 2 quick signings here, Josh. What do we got from the Reds and the Indians?
So if you remember from old Orioles and Reds teams, Alfredo Simon, or as some like to pronounce Alfredo Simon, but he had an okay stint with Baltimore up through 2011. Went over to Cincinnati, spent 3 seasons there with a 2.66, 2.87, and 3.44 ERA in those seasons. Pretty good time there.
Yeah.
Was almost a Cy Young candidate. I believe it was 2014. I might be wrong there.
No, that sounds right.
And then went to the Tigers in 2015, where he struggled big time. 5.05 ERA, 4.77 FIP. And now he's going to sign a deal with the Reds again. So Alfredo Simon back to the Reds.
Maybe you're seeing a thing about organizations and how he fits into it, and how maybe the manager made a big difference in that, and that the Tigers manager maybe,
or the park.
The park, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. The whole organization.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he went back to the Reds. I'm not surprised, but like you think he would try to go somewhere to win, where they're shipping off pieces left and right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good first half of the year. They might be trying to get something for him, which, it's not good, but it's not bad for them.
Yeah, and then news about 2 former Reds as well. Indians signed Marlon Byrd to a minor league deal. Byrd was on the Giants for some of last season. He's up there in age. Marlon Byrd is
great player, though. Great player.
Yeah, when he was younger, he's a great player. You could see Marlon Byrd worked his way into that Indians outfield, which is pretty weak. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And another former Red, Bronson Arroyo, attempting a comeback with the Washington Nationals. He tore his rotator cuff. Some reports saying that he's going to be out for the entire season. So that comeback trail may be cut off short.
Yeah, damn.
So back to your Patriots insider.
Yeah, exactly.
Martellus Bennett dealt from the Bears to the Pats in an exchange of draft picks. So I want your opinion on this, because this one didn't really make sense to me. I understand that you want a dual threat with Gronk and Bennett, but you have Edelman, and you have Deion Lewis, who's a great pass catcher. So,
all right, well, I guess I'll add my 2 cents into it.
Yes, please do.
If you think back 2010, we had the league taken by storm, and not by the case, but more so the player, Aaron Hernandez, and the Gronk and Gronkowski. Their duo made for one of the best tight end duos of all time, and probably the best tight end duo of all time. And their offense sets up for tight end play. Now, they haven't had that second tight end since Hernandez went behind bars.
Right.
And
you had Tim Wright for a while, but that didn't go that great.
And I think they were looking for a guy who kind of fits the mold of Hernandez. Now, Aaron Hernandez wasn't just a tight end. He was a wide receiver, he was a running back, and they used him in all these different modes. I think Bennett is more closer to Hernandez rather than Gronk because of his size and his speed. I think he's faster than Gronk, and I think he runs very downhill. Like, he can, once he catches the ball, he's downhill, he goes into you, and he's a very good competitor. I think they're going to line him up in many different formations, and you're going to see him and Gronk have a great duo. Gronk led the league in yards after contact. Mm-hmm. Number 2 was Marcellus Bennett.
Wow. Okay.
Last season.
So now you're going to see Zach Miller did a bunch of the time as the Bears tight end.
Yep.
So for all you fantasy lovers out there, keep an eye on Zach Miller. Also, right before we came on the air, the Seattle Seahawks re-signed running back Christian Michael. We remember him with his stint in Seattle.
Right.
And then in Dallas. He's back with Seattle now. I always thought he had the talent to be a good running back. He's just had, I think, the problem's just between the ears for him. Moving on from that, the Ravens released Will Hill a little while ago, and now we see why, as he's been suspended for 10 games.
Huh. That's interesting. Now, is this like something to do with PEDs?
I believe. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's his 4th time, maybe third or 4th time being caught.
Yeah.
I might be wrong there.
I'm surprised about. So does that mean if he gets picked up by another team, they have to wait those 10 games?
They have to honor the suspension. Yeah,
that is bad for him and his agent because he would have wished to have had. Now that they did him bad because no one wants to pay this guy for a whole year unless they get it into like writing that he's not going to be paid as much as he would, and then have it increase when he comes back to playing.
Or they just don't sign him until after suspension's over, maybe.
Well, he would have to be on a team's roster.
You can sign free agents mid-season.
Yeah, but I don't think people would want to pay him for missing 10 games.
Yeah, no, I know.
And that makes it harder for him to find another team. It's not like he's a big guy out there like that people will say, oh, well, we'll take the hit for 10 games and we'll have him ready for the playoffs. I don't think he's that big of a deal to have that happen. So it's definitely an interesting case and one to follow.
Yep. So we reported a little while ago that the Patriots dealt Chandler Jones to the Cardinals in a deal that sent guard, was it Jonathan Cooper was his name?
Yep, offensive tackle.
Sent him to New England. The Cardinals replaced him, signing one of the best offensive tackles in the league, Evan Mathis, to a one-year deal for $6 million. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Evan Mathis, great player, and definitely fills that void in their line where they just gave up Cooper. But I think I just saw the ratings, or the odds, rather, of who has the best chance to win the Super Bowl this year. And the Cardinals, I don't even think were in the top 5, and that surprised me. That definitely surprised me. That, the Patriots were up there, of course.
Well, of course, yeah.
And, Seahawks and all that. But Cardinals, man, Cardinals are... Now, they've had 3 great regular seasons. They just need to get it done in the playoffs, and I think they will this coming season. They're my favorites to win it, of course.
They were my Super Bowl pick this past season.
The Vikings,
I really liked them.
I think the Vikings are up there, too. But back on the Cardinals... Evan Mathis, wow, what a line, what a quarterback, what a defensive line, what a defensive secondary.
Just what a defense.
What a running back they have that just came out of nowhere as a rookie.
Oh, yeah, David Johnson. I thought you meant Chris Johnson at first.
David Johnson carried them throughout the playoffs. And, man, that's one team to watch. Now, on the other note of offensive tackle Cooper, yes, the Patriots have had issues with their line, but... Do you think that they might just do short term with Cooper? Will they work him out a little bit in preseason, or do you think they'll hang on to him that long?
I think they'll hang on to him.
You think you think they will? That's the deal they want. They wanted Cooper.
I think so. I mean, I don't know too much about a team's offensive line, mainly just the Giants.
I don't know. I know the Patriots were not.
They
very
had troubles.
Good.
Yeah, they had trouble.
But is Cooper the need?
I don't think
Cooper fill the need. I think. You might see a short turnaround with him, and he might be sent somewhere for draft picks, and they might try to fill that need through the draft because that's always the Belichick way.
I don't think Cooper's going to fix all the offensive line problems, but I think he's definitely going to help. From the numbers that I've seen from other writers, Cooper's been fine for Arizona, and they felt that they needed more help on the offensive line than on the defensive line,
right.
And that's why I think they made the deal. I also don't think it was a draft pick swap, just that, but.
All right.
I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
All right. Since we're talking about the Patriots, we got one right here that Josh will end the NFL section with.
Yeah, the Patriots signed Donald Brown. We remember him from his time in San Diego, long time, and in Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
Donald Brown came in for the Chargers that year that Woodhead went down. Brown had a good year. He's up there in age. He's, just a backup guy for the Patriots, but Bill Belichick always finds a way to use those running backs. So.
# do your job. All right, we're going to go over to the Hockey Minute with Josh.
It's basically going to be a hockey 20 seconds.
Hockey 20 seconds. I've got the timer. Let's start with the Flyers.
All right, Philadelphia Flyers, hot in their last 10 games, 8-1-1. With their recent win over the Chicago Blackhawks, they've grabbed a playoff spot. They're being currently led by rookie defenseman Shane Gostisbehere, as well as the usual names up top, Jakub Voracek, Claude Giroux, and Wayne Simmons. Steve Mason's doing great on the back end in goal. The Rangers need to get more points if they want to make the playoffs, but with a big win over Anaheim last night and a big game tonight against LA, we'll have to wait and see. And former Stars captain Brendan Morrow signed a one-day deal with the Stars today to retire as a Dallas Star.
Interesting.
Morrow turned 37 earlier this year, spent a long time in Dallas with 7 years as captain. His best year came in 2007-8, where he played 82 games, had 74 points.
Wow.
Was traded to Pittsburgh in 2013. It was Morrow and a third-round pick to Pittsburgh for Joe Morrow and a fifth-round pick. And then he went to St. Louis, and then Tampa was his last stop in 14-15, hasn't played this year. Known for his big power forward presence, he's one of those guys that many people didn't like to play against. As a Rangers fan, I didn't like seeing him. One of those guys that was just a bottom-six depth guy. But yeah, Brendan Morrow calls it quits after 15 years in the league.
All right, well, we'll move over to the hard court. The association, Warriors win 50th straight home game. Wow, is this one of the best seasons of all time? Like in any sport, we thought the Miami Heat, their streak of winning with LeBron James, Wade, and Chris Bosh, that was going to be never topped. Man. It's definitely something to watch. I haven't watched many Warriors games this year, but I seem to pick the right ones to watch. The last one I saw was the Warriors Oklahoma City Part 2.
That was a great game, yep.
Not the first. I watched the first one. The last one I saw was the Warriors Part 2.
Oh, the one in Golden State?
Yeah, I believe so. But the one where Curry went off after hurting his ankle the first time, I think it was.
The game in Oklahoma City was the one where he had that long buzzer or game winner.
Yes,
yeah, that was the one I remember.
That's the one. I watched that game and the last one. And I think Warriors are Showtime basketball must watch. I know they call the Clippers, Dunk City, Lob City, but man, Warriors, they can definitely score. They can score quick, and they don't just score. They play defense, too. They're one of the best defenses in the league, and you have to just tip your cap to Steve Kerr, the GM there for the Warriors. I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. But then also Luke Walton, who came in and filled in for Kerr when he was gone, and they went on that incredible streak at the beginning of the season, and he'll definitely be gone soon. And coaching somewhere else, he was under Phil Jackson for a while, and I think he's picked up some tips.
Yeah, Walton's he's gonna do the job. Head coaching did definitely. When he came up in Knicks rumors, I was indifferent about it. Like, I guess that's okay, but we'll have to see what teams are gonna want Luke Walton. And now that we're past the trade deadline, it's very slow news in the NBA. So slow that Knicks signing is news as they sign.
But not a bad signing.
No, point guard Tony Wroten, formerly of the Philadelphia 76ers. Wroten not going to be a huge impact guy, as they have guys like Calderon and Galloway and Jerry and Grant for the Knicks. But Wroten's just another one of those depth signings, low risk, medium reward.
Wroten is a proven scorer. He scored a lot for the 76ers, but proven comes maybe at a three-quarter capacity when you're talking about the 76ers, because, of course, we saw Michael Carter-Williams as a proven scorer there, and now he's struggling with the Bucks. So, when you have no one else on your team and you're just able to just throw up shots, you're going to score a lot. But Wroten, I thought, was a very good point guard. And I would categorize him as maybe the second or third best point guard on the Knicks now. I'd put him above Grant because Wroten can definitely shoot well. Calderon's just a crafty veteran, so, he's going to do what he always does, and he's had a couple good games. He's hit some big shots lately that I've seen. The Knicks are just trying to ride out this season and restart next season, I think. Their fans, as I see the guy sitting across from me right now, is sulking about the Knicks, and people, as I heard in ESPN today, I guess I'll take the analogy, not the analogy, but from, I think it was not Doris Burke, but some other female reporter said when it all started off, Phil Jackson was, handling the car there at the Knicks, and he was, all the fans were clapping and cheering now they're just giving little golf claps because
There's no promise.
They're curious about what might happen.
Minus like Kristaps Porzingis, there's like no promise.
Right. You don't want to get him mad. You just want to keep going down the same direction, and you don't want to stir the beast because, he could be getting off of that ship and getting to the Lakers land again when the Bus family doesn't work, whatever that is, what's happening in LA. So
right. So really quick, the Duke game just went final. Final score 93-85. Duke takes down the Seahawks. So many brackets stay intact.
Yeah.
Anything else to add today before we end the short show?
Yeah, I'm just gonna add a couple quick score updates through NCAA. Butler is beating Texas Tech 9-8 seed, 68-58 with 1:17 left. It's not final, but Butler's at the line at the moment. Iona, the 13th seed, is down 9 points.
Nice quick math.
Down 9 points to Iowa State, the 4 seed.
Iowa State's the 4
seed.
Yeah.
With 5 minutes left in the first, and UConn. I'm saying them in order for loser winner right now because I have all the losers that are losing right now. But UConn is down 9 also at half, 36-27. That is an 8-9 game. Colorado is beating them.
Now, obviously, by the time this is uploaded, everyone's going to know the scores, obviously. But any of the teams that are winning right now, you think could make some noise here?
Iowa State, I think, will still get beat by Iona.
Okay.
I think Iona is going to come back. I mean, they're only down, they're down 12 right now. UConn could come back, but Colorado looks like they're really commanding the game. So I'm really interested in how those are going to come out.
Could you see like Butler taking down someone like Virginia, or no?
Virginia plays such solid D, and Butler doesn't play any D. I think Virginia has a good enough offense to beat Butler, because it's just going to be a scoring match, but I think Virginia's defense is going to make the difference. And we've got a final right here that's coming up.
Yep.
Butler has won against Texas Tech 71-58.
This says 61. I'll take your word for it.
To 61?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one just went in final. 71-61 Butler.
61, yep.
Yep, Butler with the first upset, granted 9/8, but whatever, it's an upset.
I picked it, so...
you know what? You're perfect, Logan.
I'm perfect right
now. And then, could you see... I don't see Colorado or UConn giving Kansas a run for their money. Soon coming up, we have the Virginia game as well as the Baylor game. I'm very curious to watch that Baylor game. Just because a lot of people picked Yale, but I do like Baylor.
Oh yeah, I have Baylor all the way. I did not pick Yale in any of mine. Those mid-major schools. I mean,
the 12-5 is always the popular one.
Yeah, but those mid-major schools, Yale, who are they playing? Dartmouth.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
So
hey, I don't speak ill of Dartmouth.
So I just don't. I'm not very high on Yale. You're gonna see a 12-5 upset.
I think it's gonna be Arkansas Little Rock over Purdue. That's my 5-12.
All right, well, maybe. Who knows? Don't ask
Apparently
me.
You don't. Oh, that and I like Chattanooga. I went with what you had said you were interested in Chattanooga.
Yeah, I'm interested. I went
with Chattanooga.
Remember, I said I didn't have the balls to be able to pick that game right there. I'm happy you chose for me.
Yes, you're welcome.
I hope your bracket turns out well because of that.
I have not won a pool yet. I usually finish towards the top, but can't get that big paycheck yet.
And I'd like to say Josh and I and a lot of our friends are in the same pool, so it's definitely going to...
Who'd you pick again?
I don't remember who I picked for that one.
You weren't Oklahoma.
Oh, might have been Texas A&M.
Okay, yeah, because John, our friend that runs the pool, is listing off the winners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted to pick North Carolina, but I'm like, everyone's going to pick North Carolina. It's not going to win me any money.
Yeah.
They were reading it off. 2 people picked North Carolina. I am so mad because I would have picked them. I picked